Hello, we're going to be looking at a passage from the book of Ruth today. Although only 4 chapters long, it's a beautiful book and one of my favourites. The passage is in Ruth 2, and it's all about sowing and reaping. But more importantly, it shows us the heart of God for the lost, the lonely, the disadvantaged, the poor and the foreigners amongst us. Ruth is a daughter-in-law of Naomi. Many years earlier, Naomi had left Israel and gone to live in the neighbouring Moab to escape a famine. While she was there, her sons grew up, married a local girls, and as time went on, the males in the story died, and so Naomi, together with Ruth, returned to Israel. Now, biblical law stated that during the harvest, you should leave the grain at the edges of the field, the last olives and the last grapes on the trees, for the poor, the travellers, the orphans, widows, etc., so that they might have something to eat. And it was harvest time, and Ruth went out to gather the corn that was left at the edges of the field, and to pick up sheaves of whatever was left behind. Boaz, the owner of the field, asked his young men and said, "Who's the young woman over there?" And he learned all about her and her kindness to her mother-in-law. On hearing this, Boaz instructed his workers to provide protection for Ruth and to leave plenty of grain for her to gather. The story unfolds like a blockbuster movie with a happy ending. But we must put aside our warm, fuzzy feelings and to think about our evangelism. There are 2 main reasons why we reach out to others with the gospel: obedience to God and a love for people. And we need to be motivated by both of them, and in increasing measure. God's provision of salvation is for all, and we are all called to be part of making him known. Those who are called specifically to evangelism, and those who aren't. I wonder, where do you fit into the picture today? Are you part of some sowing and reaping machine, or are you part of making sure that there are grains of truth to be found by those who are seeking? So today's challenge is all about leaving sufficient grains of truth on the fringes that point to the living God. What can you change in your life that helps scatter those grains? How can you be more intentional about sharing your faith? Let us all pray for greater boldness, obedience, and an increased love for others, especially the poor and the powerless.